Once as brilliant as the richest kingdom in the world in the 1980s thanks to phosphate, people did not need to pay taxes and lived comfortably with a dream life. However, that short-lived wealth quickly disappeared, and now it is quietly in the top 5 poorest countries. Welcome to Nauru, the most isolated island nation in the world. If you know anything else interesting and strange about Nauru, please leave a comment below to share with everyone. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like this video to support us. Nauru, a tiny island nation in the Pacific Ocean, is the world's third smallest independent country, with an area of just 21 square kilometers, after the Vatican and Monaco. Nestled 42 kilometers south of the equator, Nauru is nestled in the middle of the ocean, more than 300 kilometers from the nearest mainland, Kiribatis Banaba Island. With a population of about 10,800, Nauru is nicknamed the fattest country in the world due to its high obesity rate, but it is also home to pristine beauty and a unique indigenous culture. What's special about Nauru is that it has no official capital, with the town of Yarn serving as its administrative center, housing government agencies and the only international airport. Once a magnificent phosphate island, Nauru became one of the richest countries in the world in terms of GDP per capita in the 1970s and 1980s thanks to mineral exploitation that amazed the world. However, when the resources were depleted, the economy collapsed and Nauru fell to the top of the poorest countries today, dependent on aid from Australia and revenue from the refugee detention center. Regardless, the island still retains its appeal with fine white sand beaches, vibrant coral reefs, and turquoise waters ideal for swimming, diving and enjoying a space separate from the world. Nauru, a tiny Pacific island nation, was once a symbol of wealth thanks to phosphate, a unique resource formed from bird droppings that had accumulated over millennia on the island's coral reefs. These sediments, rich in nutrients, turned Nauru into one of the world's richest countries by GDP per capita between 1970 and 1990. At its peak, phosphate exports brought in huge revenues, helping Nauruans enjoy a luxurious life with modern houses, imported cars, and no need to pay taxes. This small island of just 21 square kilometers became the center of global attention, with a standard of living on par with developed countries, a rare feat. But the glory did not last forever. Phosphate reserves depleted in the late 20th century, plunging Nauru into a severe economic recession. Once a wealthy nation, Nauru fell from being one of the poorest in the world. With a GDP of only about $1 million in 2024, dependent on aid from Australia and revenue from its refugee detention center. Overmining of phosphate not only depleted its resources, but also devastated the landscape, turning 80% of the island into barren land, filled with deep holes and sharp limestone, unsuitable for farming. As a result, environmental degradation and soil erosion have caused people to face the challenge of survival in their own homeland. Can a small country like Nauru bounce back from economic collapse? Leave a 1 in the comments and let us know. And now let's continue the story of Nauru. Nauru is a classic example of unsustainable resource use, offering a valuable lesson in economic management. In the 1970s and 1980s, Nauru became rich from the exploitation of phosphate, a resource from bird droppings that had accumulated over millennia. With a GDP per capita exceeding many developed countries, Nauru seemed invincible. But blind dependence on phosphate and a lack of long-term planning brought the island nation to the brink of collapse when its resources ran out in the early 21st century, leading to economic and environmental collapse. Investment mistakes compounded the disaster. Instead of diversifying its economy, Nauru spent lavishly on ineffective projects, such as funding an opera house in Australia and building hotels and resorts overseas that never operated. Real estate ventures in Melbourne and Hawaii failed miserably, draining the budget. As a result, Nauru went bankrupt, with debts many times its current GDP of about $150 million. From being a wealthy country, Nauru fell into dependence on foreign aid, mainly from Australia, and revenue from refugee detention centers, which was not sustainable. The lessons from Nauru are a stark warning. Overexploitation of resources without reinvestment in education, health care, and diverse industries has devastated 80% of the island's land, leaving it barren and uncultivable. Climate change and soil erosion have worsened the situation. Today, Nauru is seeking to revive itself through tourism and green energy. But the consequences of management mistakes still remind the world: limited resources require a sustainable vision, otherwise prosperity will be as fleeting as the waves of the Pacific Ocean. Nauru is a clear example of the consequences of unsustainable development. The environmental devastation from phosphate mining has left an indelible mark. During the 20th century, excessive phosphate mining for export turned about 80% of Nauru into a dead zone. Phosphate mines, formed from bird droppings over millennia, are continuously excavated, leaving the island's surface full of deep holes, sharp limestone, and barren land, unable to cultivate or restore the natural ecosystem. The once lush landscape is now barren, with limestone pillars standing tall like relics of a golden age. Today, Nauru is trying to restore its environment, but the journey is difficult. Tree planting and land reclamation projects are hampered by a lack of fertile soil, harsh climate, and limited water resources. Some programs, such as reforesting old mines with native plants or importing soil from overseas, have been tried, but high costs and low returns mean progress is slow. Climate change is making matters worse, with rising sea levels threatening to erode the coastline where Nauru's population and infrastructure are concentrated. The 2024 report found that the island nation is at risk of losing more land to erosion and flooding, leaving its people without enough space to live. The environmental consequences of Nauru are an expensive lesson for the world. The short-lived prosperity from phosphate has come at the cost of a devastated landscape and an uncertain future. Although regeneration efforts with ecotourism and renewable energy are gaining momentum, Nauru still faces a major challenge in healing its environmental wounds. The story of Nauru reminds us that unsustainable development can turn a paradise into a silent land, right in the heart of the deep blue ocean. Despite being one of the smallest island nations in the world, Nauru has a unique tourism potential that few people know about. Its pristine beaches and pristine coral reefs have not been exploited much by mass tourism. Nauru offers a feeling of being separated from the world, where you can relax in the vast ocean, listen to the waves, and forget the hustle and bustle of life. This gives Nauru a rare advantage: quiet, pure, and authentic, something many modern travelers are looking for in an increasingly crowded and commercialized world. However, infrastructure constraints have kept tourism on Nauru largely underdeveloped. With only a few small ghost houses in Yaren and basic services, Nauru lacks hotels, restaurants, or modern transportation to accommodate tourists. The only international airport only accepts limited flights from Australia or Fiji, making access to the island expensive and difficult. Without major tour operators or formal tourism promotion, Nauru remains a hidden destination, attracting only true explorers who want to discover an original Oceania. What makes Nauru special is its friendly people, who welcome strangers with warm smiles and stories of the sea. But most of them depend on subsidies from Australia and import food and goods because the land is barren and uncultivable. This hospitality, combined with spectacular seascapes, has great potential if tourism is invested in. Nauru could become an ecotourism gem, but it needs to overcome infrastructure barriers to shine, offering a unique experience in the heart of the Pacific. Nauru, a small country but full of stories worth pondering, is a living testament to the ups and downs of humanity. From the height of its wealth thanks to phosphate mining, Nauru once shone like a pearl of the Pacific. But the lesson of collapse due to overexploitation turned the island into a barren land, reminding us of the value of sustainability. Still, with its turquoise seas, vibrant coral reefs, and hospitable people, Nauru still invites exploration. The journey here is not just about tourism, it is an opportunity to reflect on resources, the environment, and the future. What is special about Nauru is that although it is not famous for its large and majestic waterfalls like other lands, it has some small and beautiful waterfalls hidden in the primeval forests, where the clear water flows from above down the cliffs, creating white foam, sparkling in the sunlight. One of the most prominent waterfalls is Annabare Bay Waterfall, where the water gently flows down the cliff before blending into the blue sea. This is an ideal destination for those who want to get away from the noise of popular tourist areas and seek a peaceful, quiet space in the middle of wild nature. The waterfalls in Nauru not only attract tourists by their poetic beauty, but are also an ideal place to explore the vitality of nature. The cool water flows from the streams on the island, soaks into the ground and forms clear lakes. In addition, the combination of moss-covered cliffs and ancient trees creates a mysterious space close to nature. If you are an adventure lover, exploring these waterfalls on trekking trips will definitely bring you unforgettable experiences. Waterfalls in Nauru are not only attractive tourist destinations, but also play an important role in the lives of local people. The water source from these waterfalls not only provides water for daily life, but also symbolizes the power and freshness of nature. Small waterfalls on the island contribute to maintaining the richness of flora and fauna, and are a source of motivation for Nauruans in their work and daily life. In addition, the beauty of these waterfalls also helps Nauru affirm its potential attraction to tourists. Although there are no majestic waterfalls like in other countries, the wild, quiet and peaceful beauty of waterfalls in Nauru brings a unique attraction. It is an indispensable part of the unique natural picture of this island nation, creating unforgettable experiences for those who have ever set foot here. With its enchanting and magical waterfalls, Nauru is an ideal destination for those seeking peace, harmony with nature, and a space to relax and recharge. If you are looking for a holiday filled with exciting and wonderful experiences in the wild, then Nauru with these beautiful waterfalls will definitely be the ideal choice. The natural landscape of Nauru, a small island nation in the heart of the Pacific Ocean, is a harmonious combination of mountains, forests, seas, and vast skies, creating a beautiful, strange, and attractive space. Although not as prominent as famous tourist destinations, Nauru possesses a unique, pristine beauty that makes anyone who sets foot here amazed. Especially if you love peace, quiet, and closeness to nature, this place will bring you unforgettable experiences. With a small area of only about 21 square kilometers, Nauru is like a precious gem bestowed by nature on the Pacific Ocean. From towering Rocky Mountains to long stretches of smooth white sand, there is no shortage of beautiful scenery here. Nauru's coastal areas are a beautiful picture with clear water and golden sand sparkling under the sunlight. The waves gently lapping against the shore, creating a melodious sound, blending with the whistling wind from the ocean, making visitors feel like they are entering a magical space, separate from the noisy world out there. When you step deep into the tropical forests, you will feel the mystery and wildness of nature here. The dense forests with towering ancient trees, rough roots stretching into the ground, create a space that is both dark and mysterious. The small, clear streams, winding between the treetops, occasionally hidden by small waterfalls, create a murmuring sound, rhythmic like a natural song. The fresh, cool air and the vitality of the flora and fauna here make every step an indispensable journey of discovery. In addition, Nauru also has the characteristics of a special rocky landscape, where the vertical cliffs rise up to the sky, creating spectacular views. The Rocky Mountains around the island, although not too high, are an ideal place for you to admire the whole view of this small country. From these high points, you will have the opportunity to admire the beauty of the blue sea surrounding the island, along with the white sand beaches stretching far and wide, like a soft silk strip embracing the sky and earth. The Sea of Nauru is not only beautiful but also contains a rich marine ecosystem. With clear water, it is home to many diverse and rich marine species. Colorful coral reefs, tropical fish swimming, or schools of sea turtles gliding across the water create a vivid and magical scene. The mountain, sea and sky landscape in Nauru is not only beautiful but also strangely attractive, captivating people. With a harmonious combination of pristine natural beauty and tranquility, this is definitely an ideal place for those who seek relaxation, immerse themselves in nature and experience the wild beauty of the natural world. Those who come to Nauru will feel the peaceful space, different from the hustle and bustle of life out there, and can find serenity and peace that cannot be found anywhere else. The island nation of Nauru's extreme obesity rate is more than a cold number, it's a snapshot of the dramatic transformation of a society once well-fed by natural resources, but now facing serious health consequences from that wealth. Here, more than 90% of the adult population is overweight or obese, making Nauru the country with the highest obesity rate on the planet, a record no one wants. The story begins in the 20th century, when Nauru discovered huge phosphate reserves on its tiny island. In a short time, the country became incredibly wealthy, with people living comfortably without having to do much manual labor. The financial prosperity came with a lifestyle that modernized too quickly, while public health knowledge had not developed in time to match. A sedentary lifestyle, combined with imported foods such as canned food, fast food, carbonated soft drinks, etc., has replaced the traditional diet that relied on ocean fish, vegetables, and tropical fruits. Gradually, this consumption habit has become the norm in daily life. Unlike many Western cultures, where being slim is often prized, in Nauru, obesity has long been seen as a symbol of wealth and success. This tradition makes it difficult to change public thinking. In a society where fat is beautiful and healthy, health warnings are often ignored. What are the consequences? Rates of chronic diseases such as diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, and even kidney failure are skyrocketing. In particular, nearly 40% of the population has type 2 diabetes, a staggering figure for a country with an area of less than 21 square kilometers. The health system, already limited in resources and facilities, is struggling to cope. In this context, efforts to improve are starting to appear. International organizations and the Nauruan government are working together to educate the community about nutrition and health. Programs to encourage people to return to natural diets, increase physical activity, and reconnect with their ancestors' healthy lifestyles are being implemented step by step. Schools are adding sports to the curriculum, and people are encouraged to grow their own vegetables and fish as they once did. Although the road to recovery is long and challenging, Nauru's story is a sobering example. Uncontrolled development, dependence on modern conveniences, and industrial food can have profound consequences for public health. And above all, health not wealth is the true measure of a nation's sustainable development. If you enjoyed today's journey, feel free to leave a comment sharing your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on other great destinations in the future. Thank you for joining me on this journey. See you on the next journeys, where we will continue to explore the colorful, authentic world and inspiring stories waiting to be told.